Alright there geezers, Jules here from FGS, home of the Future Game Show. And I'll tell you what my friends, my god, is it fun to be the bad guy sometimes. Now for the record, I don't mean bad like go murder a dog in front of their owner or shove wet poo through the letterbox of your elderly neighbour. Although that would send a message about fixing her fence. No, I mean the safe kind of bad, where you're like being a naughty little rotter in the world of video games. Because here, in the safe confines of virtual reality, you can be a murderous maniac in GTA, you could be a devious Machiavellian plotter in Among Us, or a straight up sadomasochist by playing Portal 2 in co-op mode and then deleting the bridge whenever your buddy is on it, because that is just cruel. And all of this fuels the argument that you can have a right laugh being on the wrong side of law, and indeed, morality. Sometimes. So let's explore this concept and look at games where you are indeed the bad guy, and you know what? That's a good thing. But as per usual, this is the deep cut, so this ain't gonna be your nana's YouTube list. Deep cuts only, and also bird up. With this in mind, I'm Jules, this is FGS, and these are 8 video games where you're the bad guy. Number 8, Necrofugitive. Making its way hot off a recent feature in our Future Game Show live from LA Showcase, which I bloody co-hosted by the way, is Necrofugitive. Side note, I am recording this in the past, so by the time that you see this video, I'll have likely have gotten some sun. That's right, this pasty goblin body might have seen some actual sunlight. I'll be definitely sunburned, won't I? Yeah. Anyway, now this game caught my attention from the jump, mainly because you are, in no uncertain terms, the bad guy of the experience. Seeing as you've allied yourself with a cursed eldritch god and are doing everything you can to bring about the downfall of the empire around you. Problem is, however, you've not just been skipping leg day, you've been skipping try not to get murdered by an entire battalion day, because everyone, and I mean everyone, hates you and will murder you on sight. But thankfully though, you've got the rather gnarly ability to steal the skin off of people that you murder and use this fleshy disguise to sneak past guards and encampments. It's gross. Yet stealth isn't your only weapon, as when your dark god decides that you've proven yourself worthy, they will imbue you with enough power to turn you into a hulking Goliath of a monster, essentially becoming something like the cleric beast from Bloodborne in the process. And it's pretty sick. The flip from skulking around to turning into a straight up murder machine is a brilliant gameplay loop, meaning that those fleeting moments of power really do feel satisfying to bust out. And you can wishlist Necrofugitive right now over on the Steam page. Number 7, the Bureau of Fantastical and Arcane Affairs. Now I ask you friends, when can a person be more evil than evil itself? If you answered when your best mate steals your girlfriend and has also started on the protein shake so his farts are living perpetually in your nose, and they bad, then close, but not quite, as the real answer is when you work for the government. And this is exactly the strange situation that we find ourselves in with the Bureau of Fantastical and Arcane Affairs, which has you take on the role of an evil inspector. Not an inspector that is evil, but actually somebody who inspects evil itself. As the inspector, you have to visit dungeons and lairs, making sure that things are up to code, that evil permits have been filed out properly, and that all of the T's are crossed and the I's are poked out in accordance with your weird employer's requests. The choices that you then make in this section actually shape the overall quest and narrative of the game itself, which suddenly comes into play when you switch roles to become that of the hero and now have to navigate the same dungeons and challenges that you so fastidiously put together. Now I guess this technically means that you're both the good and the bad guy here, but trust me, making it so hard that your future self curses your own bloodline really is distilled evil energy. Number 6, Robo Frenzy. Now as you can see, the evil finger temple is out once more, but this time it's accompanied by a new shiny robot head, and this is for good reason, meatbags. It is because I've murdered Jules and I've replaced him as the better, more efficient host of this show, and I've also been a stinker and stretched this theme of the episode to its utter breaking point. Beep boop. And I say this because Robo Frenzy doesn't exactly cast you in the role of a card-carrying villain, but instead gives you the tools to become one of the most heinous examples of humanity should you be in a particularly evil mood. Don't worry, I'll explain. And it's because Robo Frenzy is a boss rush game in which whenever you beat a boss, you then get to redesign it completely and usher it out into the online space to battle other players. The game features hundreds of different customizable cosmetics and tons of different weapon loadouts to boot. Plus, you can even set the difficulty of the AI, turning once simple battles into Dark Souls adjacent brick walls. And not to give away any surprises, but there may or may not be some secret boss-based shenanigans featuring yours truly over there. And while I can't say more right now, if it is something that you end up discovering for yourself, you'll probably end up cursing my name over and over again. Well, more than you probably already do for providing you so many new games to play. You're welcome. Now try and punch this face in. Still, you'll have to discover that for yourself when the game launches, and you can wishlist Robo Frenzy right now. Number 5, Deck of Haunts. Have you ever tripped up on the stairs in your house or banged your head on a slightly open cupboard and cursed your house from its very foundation to its attic for its own existence? Well, what if the house in question did all of these micro-evils on purpose? Well, this is the rather strange and much more spooky version that you'll find yourself in the recently released scare simulator Deck of Haunts, a game in which you play as the haunted house itself. And your sole purpose is to lure humans into your mansion, scare the life out of them, and then use their pain and suffering and misery in order to expand and grow even larger. Using a deck of cards that can decide which traps you can trigger or which ethereal powers you can discover, you must protect a huge and ever-beating heart at the center of your mansion from intrepid human explorers. But what makes this situation even more tense is that certain cards are buffed when used in conjunction with others, meaning that you'll need to plan combos and trigger certain buffs provided by different rooms in order to keep the humans away. Yet make no mistake here, you might feel attacked by the priests and ghost-busting forces here, but you are most definitely stealing their souls and most definitely a force of evil in this game. And you know what? It's brilliant fun. Number 4, Hotel Barcelona. Okay friends, I won't lie to you here. Yay! I am so excited about the upcoming game Hotel Barcelona, and not just because the footage that I've seen looks absolutely up my alley, but it's also because this game comes from not just the mind of one absolute mad lad, but two, as this is a title that is being co-created by Suda51 and Swery65, meaning that we're about to gain access to an all-you-can-eat buffet of strange gameplay decisions and wacky characters. Deadly premonition and no more heroes fusing together? Yes, please. In fact, the concept of two unhinged characters working together actually bleeds into this game's narrative, and it's the reason for its inclusion on this list, because here you play as both a federal marshal called Justine and a deranged serial killer who is living inside her body called Dr. Carnival. What a name. This unlikely pairing sees them take on a ton of other deadly killers and assassins which must be defeated before Dr. Carnival gives Justine her body back, and it results in a chaotic 2D action game with tons of gore and violence. Now, while Justine wishes to bring all of these maniacs in to face the law, Dr. Carnival has other ideas and warps her body into weapons of destruction, all so that he can enact some rather petty revenge scheme. Now, while it might seem a bit cheap to say that you're playing the bad guy in Hotel Barcelona, you're definitely controlling a sick serial killer who is manipulating a woman's body to the extent that chain blades burst from her skin, so yeah. I'd say that you're not exactly wearing a white cowboy hat in this manic rodeo. Plus, the game looks so amazingly good. So sue me. You know what? Sue me. Actually, don't do that. I don't have much money after my recent Warhammer purchases. Number 3, Life Eater. Right, okay, time to talk about Life Eater then, I guess. The only game on this list I really do feel needs to come with some sort of warning, because the content of this game is dark. Like really, really dark. And I say this because Life Eater has been dubbed by the community that have played it as a kidnapping simulator. Yeah, buckle up. So in this game, you play as a modern-day druid that has been tasked with sacrificing a number of innocent people in order to save the world from an ancient apocalypse. Now, while the core mission of save the world is definitely a decent goal, the means by which you do this involves stalking people, breaking into their houses, taking them back to your lair, and then sacrificing them to an otherworldly force. Thankfully though, I guess, the game doesn't task you with performing these actions in first person and instead doles out all of the grim details of your actions in a sort of Adobe Premiere timeline. But make no bones about it, you are a truly evil person for the actions you commit here. And speaking of bones, you'll need to break them. A lot of them, in fact, because when it comes time for the ritual, you'll need to take all of the information gathered from your stalking and then apply it via breaking specific ribs or carving out their innards in a certain way, and basically acting like you're playing a Temu brand of Surgeon Simulator, or as is also known, Surgeon Simulator. Like I said, it's grim, it's nasty, and you're most definitely playing the bad guy here. Number 2, Chucky Slash and Dash. Okay, time for another story time with the egg. What will Jules talk about next? And well, listen, I've been around the block a lot since I started on YouTube. I've been in the gaming sphere for a long ass time, probably before some of you were even born. And while that might sound like a flex and a bit of a gatekeepery statement, it really isn't, because as well as being able to regale you with stories of amazing games that influenced me as a youth, it also means that I've played some absolute bottom of the barrel, low-hanging fruit clunkers that have unfortunately stayed with me for years. And one of these games is, or was, because it's now delisted, was Chucky Slash and Dash, a mobile endless runner title that had me, for some reason, utterly hooked on my then long commutes to work. Now to be fair, I was very young and very, very stupid, and this was back in 2013 when mobile games beyond the likes of Snake were still blowing my tiny mind, but there was something about this game that just kept on pulling me back in. Maybe it was the comical amount of batteries you had to collect while racing through the levels. Maybe it was the short, compressed voice clips that were used from the movies that often made little sense when they were being played over and over and over again.
I like a little killing now and then. What's wrong with that?
Or maybe it was the fact that it had a dedicated neck stabbing button that you could use to eliminate NPCs and rack up your scores. It was dumb, simple stuff. But the allure of playing as a demented doll murdering people as I slowly crawled through early morning Exeter traffic really spoke to the youth that was young Jules. And no, we won't be diving into that mental crisis any further. So there we have it, a game that most definitely pits you as the bad guy, and in all honesty, was kind of a bad game as well, but one that I will cherish in some weirdly warped way. It's definitely a deep cut, there's no way you can play it, and I wouldn't even recommend that you could if you actually had the chance to. And number one, Death Note Killer Within. And so we close on one of the greatest villain tales ever put to page, the intertwining dance macabre that is the battle between Kira and L from Death Note. A franchise that has captured the hearts and minds of millions since its release in 2003 and is still going strong to this day. Enter stage left, Death Note Killer Within, a social deduction party game that released last year and that caught my attention for the fact that you can become part of Kira's gang and help them gather names from intrepid investigators to put into the horror that is known as the Death Note. Plus its art style is just so freaky. I feel like all these chibi models have hyperthyroidism. And look at those eyes, they be bulging, mate. For fans of Among Us, this will have immediate appeal, as well as those looking for a little more extra depth when it comes to their party deduction games, which some might rudely call extra steps. But still, it's there. So here in Killer Within, you have to complete investigations, swipe IDs from other players, and even break into smaller teams in order to secure objectives, meaning that there's a lot less opportunities for the enemy team to succeed without getting noticed. You can even pass evidence collected between players, making it even harder for the Kira team to know who to eliminate and end Team L's investigations, as well as being able to use special level-wide buffs and nerfs that each team can use. But most interesting of all, though, is that if you're caught, it doesn't immediately mean you die or get expelled. You're effectively placed on a watch list with other players on Team L able to scrutinize your activities to prove your guilt or for you to exonerate yourself. Still, while playing as Team L might be a fun time, there is no doubt that being on the side of the murderers is much more fun, as the delightfully evil plotting and planning lends itself so well to this genre of game. Plus, when it all comes to light that it was indeed you who killed everyone, I'm pretty sure that your real friendship group will call you a bad person, amongst some other more sweary things. Enjoy. And there we go, my friends. Those were 8 video games where you are the bad guy. I hope that you enjoyed that, and let me know what you thought about it down in the comment section below. And if you want to chat to me on the social medias in the meantime, you can go over to follow me here over on Instagram and Blue Sky, where I'm at RetroJ, but the O is a 0. Or you can follow my lovely editor Mark over on his social medias here as well. But before I go, I just want to say one thing. Even though we spoke today a lot about video games where you're the bad guy, that is the absolute antithesis to the ending message of these videos, in which I want to remind you, yes, you watching at home, that you are a good person. You deserve the best things in life, like love, happiness, and success, and do not let anything or anyone else tell you otherwise. You are a massive legend. I want you to live a healthy and happy life. So go out there and smash it, my friend. Hold your head up high. As always, I have been Jules. You have been awesome. Never forget that. I'll speak to you soon. Bye.